You guys ever decided to learn a diminished seventh chord, and then when you learned how to play it, you quickly gave up because you realized, what's the point? It doesn't even fit within any major scale. It has notes that don't belong within the major scale. I sat around and recently learned my seventh chords. The diminished seventh came up. I didn't understand why to learn it whatsoever. And then recently, with a few other videos I've been making about semitone movements, and how a suspended second chord and then suspended fourth chords are really nice because it's these small movements. I realized the diminished seventh may not fit in your key, but it is a wonderful chord to connect all your diatonic chords within a key. So that's what we're going to talk about. Let's first talk about how to create a diminished seventh chord, and then let's play it on the guitar. And see how it's useful. Especially the way I see this being useful is if you don't want to sit around and think about like chord progressions, like 1-4-5 or 2-5-1, but you just want to pick up the guitar and you want to play from one chord to the next. The diminished seventh is a wonderful way of doing that. So let's get on with it. All right. We're going to just start off with showing you how to do the diminished seventh chord, right? Let's just show it with this G bar chord here real quick, right? Now, we know where our intervals are. You should know that by now if you want to follow this video. But let's turn this G bar chord, this G major bar chord, into a G diminished seventh. So first thing we have to do, if we're going to make a diminished chord, we know that the fifth interval has to get flattened, right? We also know that if we're going to do a diminished, we have to turn our major chord into a minor. So this third now becomes a minor. Right? So we've got a root, we've got a flattened fifth, we've got a minor third, and then with a diminished, you have to actually take not the major seventh, not the dominant seventh, but then you'd flatten that and you get a double flat seven, right? So here's our major seven, we flatten it twice, right? So this is a G diminished seven. Crazy, right? Now, if you're playing this and you want to move this shape around on, thinking about it from the bass note, right? G, diminished 7, G sharp, diminished 7, G flat, diminished 7th. Right, if you're going to move it around off thinking your root and your bass note off the 6th string, I realized that the fastest and easiest way to figure out how to fret it or get this shape is kind of think about this popular G chord shape. Right, we've all kind of played that chord before, right? It's like, right? But here we need to focus on kind of moving it up, and then I realized the last thing you do is put that pinky up there, right? Now, I'm pretty new at this as well, but eventually, I'm sure we will all start just grabbing it, right? Anyway, that's way off, but I'm not there quite yet. So I'm just in my head, I'm thinking that shape, but I'm moving it here, and then boom. Throw that flattened fifth on there with a pinky finger. Now, again, I said this is how to do it on the 6th string. Let's talk about how to do it now with our root on the 5th string. So normally we would have kind of like a C bar chord here, right? Or you'd have like your minor, right? Again, what do we have to do? Well, we've got to flatten our fifth, right? So here's our fifth. We're going to flatten it. We already know, we just showed it, that your major third to your minor third, right? So we have a root, a flattened 5, and the minor third. And then again with the 7th here, we've got this, this would be your root. We'd have your major 7, we would have the dominant 7, and then of course we're going to double flatten that 7th, so we're going to bring it back here to a diminished 7th, or a double flat 7. So now on the 5th string we look something like this. And now the best way of really thinking about this one, if you're going to practice this shape, is try to get that down first and then work that birdie finger on the 5th string there, right? Right? Got that? Now, I know that's going to take some time to practice these chords, right? See how slow I am moving from chord shape to chord shape, right? I mean, like I said, I'm still figuring it out myself. But let's go through and just move diatonically through the key of F major real quick and just kind of show you what I was talking about from the get-go here. So we have a F bar chord, right? Now we've got to get to our next diatonic chord, would be a G minor, right? So we have this in between, we have this semitone movement. So here our F sharp is going to be the F sharp diminished seventh, right? And then we'll get to that G minor, right? And you can also play these as minor sevenths because we're doing a whole lot of seventh action going on here. But now from this G minor seventh to the next diatonic chord would be the A minor, right? But we have again the semitone in between, right? The G and the A. So we have to play this as a diminished seventh. And then we can get to the A minor, right? So let's just go through real quick. I'll go all the way up to, let's go up to, what do we have here? We got the A, we'll go up to A sharp, and then we'll jump down to the, let's see, let's go A minor here, and then let's jump to A sharp, right? Yeah, right. And then let's go to the B, diminished seventh. Right? All right, and then we're going to just work our way. We're going to go from the sixth string, F, all the way down to this F here on the fifth string. And then maybe we'll figure out how to do a turnaround at the end and repeat it. So let's just do it real quick. Again, this is just an example so you guys can understand what's the purpose of a diminished seventh chord. So here we go. We got the F. Right? Now, I maybe played some messy notes in there, but did you see how smooth that works? I mean, you don't have to go, every in-between of every diatonic chord, but I did a little, just a little, I don't know, some notes there from the F major scale, and then I just started here back on the, what is this, what's this, G minor seventh, right, which is just the second diatonic chord in the key of F major. Right? And then I went backwards with my diminished chords back to my F, major 7, the diatonic chord here, which is the E half diminished, and then I went E flat, diminished 7th, and then just worked my way all the way down. So again, you don't have to play every single chord in between, but something kind of, melodic, where you don't have to think about chord progressions. You can just simply move. I hope you find that useful. If not, that's okay. G diminished 7th. Or G diminished 7th, which would be on your 5th and your 6th string. Have a great day.